Welcome to
Theories
of the third kind.
Welcome to Theories of the Third Kind. My name is Aaron. The other host that's joining me today is Daniel.
How?
Now, before we start today's episode, we have a few announcements to make.
If you would like to support the show, you can do so by joining our premium subscription service, Supercast. For just $6.66 a month, you can enjoy weekly premium audio episodes and access to our entire back catalog of over 270 plus episodes that are all ad-free.
Or if you're a big baller and you want to spend a little extra change, then you can sign up to our premium video membership service for $9.99 a month. Not only do you get the extra premium audio episode each week, but you'll also get the premium video episode as well each week. So to sign up to that, just go to our website, theoriesofthethirdkind.com. Click on the Supercast button that's right in the middle of our website. It will take you over there to sign up. It's super easy to do, super easy to use. And yeah. Also, if you listen to this on Spotify, you can just sign up through Spotify. I think it's like a couple clicks or whatever.
Now, we know things are tough out there right now, so if you can't afford a premium membership, but you still want to help us out, you can do so by leaving us a written review on iTunes or Spotify.
That helps us out a lot.
A lot.
Or subscribe to us on YouTube. You can see our beautiful faces there.
However, don't feel pressure to leave us one. If you don't want to, then that's fine. We just want you guys, girls, aliens, reptilians, Bigfoot, Sasquatches, Chupacabras, ghosts, Illuminati members, underground lizard people, whoever or whatever you are, to enjoy the show. Also, remember, this episode is entirely human-made. No AI were used or harmed in the process other than for the base graphic.
All right, so that is the end of the announcements. And today's episode is over Pizzagate. And before we get into the episode, I feel like we have to do the announcement we do every single time we talk about something semi-political or religious. All right. Both Dan and I are neither left-leaning nor right-leaning. We are not for the right, not for the left. We are for the power of the people. Actually, if you want to get more specific, we are for Bigfoot as our president.
That's right.
So with that being said, all of our research and everything that we go over that has any kind of inkling of politicalness to it, we do not lean either way. We just search for the facts and present them to you. So I just want to make that very clear. So with that being said, today we are going to talk about something that stirred up a lot of controversy, Pizzagate. We're going to break it down piece by piece, where it came from, the key players, the strange facts people point to, and the theories behind it. And to understand it all, we have to go all the way back to the year 2016.
So back in 2016, a large number of political figures had their emails leaked. In those emails, individuals claimed they found cryptic references to satanic occult rituals, murders, bribery, and child sex trafficking.
This discovery sparked a massive online movement of individuals digging into the leaked emails and making unusual connections. Now, for us to fully understand this, we have to start from the beginning, the leaked emails themselves.
So in March of 2016, something significant happened. John Podesta's personal Gmail account was hacked. Now, let's take a moment real quick to talk about who the hell John Podesta is. He's a well-known political figure who has been deeply involved in American politics for decades.
For example, from 1993 to 1995, he served in the Clinton administration as the White House staff secretary. Then from 1998 to 2001, he stepped up as the White House chief of staff to President Bill Clinton.
Then years later, between 2014 and 2015, he served as counselor to President Barack Obama. And in 2016, he was the chairman of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign.
John Podesta has also been the president of the Center for American Progress, which is a major think tank in Washington, D.C., and as of today, he serves as its chair and counselor. So, in short, he's been connected to some of the most powerful and influential people in the world for pretty much most of his life. And knowing that, it's easy to see why his email getting hacked in 2016 was such a big deal.
Now, those hacked emails eventually ended up in the hands of WikiLeaks, which, if you don't know what WikiLeaks is, it's an international nonprofit organization known for publishing news leaks. They obtained Podesta's emails, verified that they were authentic and unaltered, and then released them publicly for the world to see.
Which they do have a database, WikiLeaks does, where you could go and it's an entire database that they placed all of Podesta's leaked emails in, and you can type in any word and it will pull up that keyword in any of the emails. So, like Dan said, his emails were published by WikiLeaks, and at first, most individuals didn't care about the contents of his emails. They were pretty boring. They offered a behind the scenes look at pretty much the inner workings of the Clinton campaign at the time, which a lot of people didn't like. But then, as individuals continued digging through his emails, they began spotting something unusual. Something was hidden in those messages that would grab the world's attention.
So, like we previously stated, a lot of individuals were looking at the publicly released emails of John Podesta, and then at some point, someone looking through those emails noticed something unusual. John Podesta had both sent and received emails from political figures that contained bizarre references to food.
One example stood out, and it was from a friend who wrote about a handkerchief that Podesta had left behind at their house. The handkerchief was described as having, and we quote, a map that seems pizza related.
And at this point, people began connecting the dots. These strange food references, they claimed, match code phrases known to be used among pedophiles.
And I know that might seem strange, but just hang with us here because it gets a lot more weird and odd. And we're going to go over a few other emails that individuals found. And if you ever have time, you could go through them yourself. Like I mentioned, WikiLeaks has a database you can go to. You could just search it, WikiLeaks, John Podesta emails. You could search it on Google or DuckDuckGo, click on it, and then just type any keyword, and you can look through those emails yourself. Now, we don't have time to go over all of them. It would take years, okay? But we have selected a few emails to go over, mainly the most popular ones that people often point to and say, that is very weird.
For example, Podesta received an email with the subject line that said, cheese. In this email, a friend stated that he had to change strategies that have long been in place and then remarked that he was sent cheese instead of pasta.
At the end of this email, the individual asked Podesta if, and we quote, he'd do better playing dominoes on cheese than on pasta, which is very odd, but we do have that actual email. I took a screenshot of it and we'll post it up right here for anyone that wants to take a look at it. If you aren't watching us on YouTube, you should just go to youtube.com/theories of the third kind and click on today's video and you will see our beautiful faces and these images that we are referencing. But if you don't want to, you could just go to our website, theoriesofthethirdkind.com, click on today's episode, and all of the reference images will be there under today's episode titled Pizzagate. But here you go. Here's this email sent on December 24th, 2015, like we said, titled Cheese. And the entire email states Mary and John Podesta, which Mary is John's wife. I think you should give notice when changing strategies which have been long in place. I immediately realized something was different by the shape of the box, and I contemplated who would be sending me something in the square-shaped box. Lo and behold, instead of pasta and wonderful sauces, it was lovely, tempting assortment of cheeses. Yummy. I am awaiting the return of my children and grandchildren for their holiday travels so that we can demolish them. Thank you so much. I hope you and your gang are well. I miss you both. Best wishes for a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Herb. P.S. Do you think I'll do better playing dominoes on cheese than on pasta? So a lot of people point to that and say, hey, that's some weird food references. And it only continues on throughout the other emails.
So the next email that we're going to go over was from an individual named Tamara Lozado. Now, Tamara has worked in politics for over 40 years. She was on the staff of Senator John D. Rockefeller for over 15 years. From 2001 to 2009, she served as the chief of staff for Hillary Clinton. And as of today, Tamara is the senior vice president of government relations at the Pew Charitable Trust.
And like we previously mentioned, Podesta received an email from Tamara, and in it, she said some very odd things. Tamara mentioned that children ages 7, 9, and 11 years old would, and we quote, be in the pool for further entertainment. And just like the previous email, we do have a screenshot of this one as well, and we will post it up for everyone to take a look at. And like I said, it was an email from Tamara that was sent on October 8th, 2015, and it states, with enormous gratitude to advanced man extraordinaire Haber, I am popping up again to share our excitement with the reprise of our gang's visit to the farm in Lottsville, and I thought I'd share a couple more notes. We plan to heat the pool, so a swim is a possibility. Bonnie will be the Uber service to transport Ruby, Emerson, and Maeve Lozado, 11, 9, and almost 7. So you'll have some further entertainment, and they will be in that pool for sure. And with the forecast showing prospects of some sun and a cooler temp of lower 60s, I suggest you bring some sweaters or whatever attire will enable us to use the outdoor table with the overhead so we can dine al fresco. And ideally not al chillo. You're so funny.
Yeah, pun.
Anyway, so that was from Tamara, that email, which it's very odd to see someone say that they're going to have 3 children there, 11, 9, and 7, for further entertainment.
Kind of
It could be taken out of...
It can be taken out of context, which...
Exactly, yeah. But we are going to continue on because the emails just continue being very odd and weird.
All right, so our next email is from Tony Podesta, John's older brother, and one of the most powerful lobbyists in Washington. So Tony sent an email to John with the subject line that said, "Last night was fun."
And in this email itself, Tony Podesta, John's brother, said to John, "Still in torture chamber." Another question? Do you two want to have February 14th Valentine's Day dinner?
And of course, we have a screenshot of this email as well, and that we will post up for everyone to see. And of course, you could see that it says, "Last night was fun. Still in torture chamber, yada, yada." Sent from his iPad.
Yeah. And I know individuals may be like, okay, these are all just coincidences and just taken out of context. But please just hang with us because it all connects and it becomes very odd. Just trust us. All right. So the next email that we're going to go over was sent to John Podesta from Susan of the Sandler Foundation. Now, the Sandler Foundation is a left-leaning charitable organization founded by billionaire bankers Herbert and Marion Sandler.
This foundation states that it invests in strategic organizations and leaders that seek to improve the rights and opportunities of others. And just a random knowledge nugget, but in 2006, Herbert and Marion Sandler sent $1.3 billion of their own money into their foundation. That's a lot of money.
That's a ton of money. Anyway, so like we previously mentioned, the email was sent from Susan of the Sandler Foundation to John Podesta. Now, this email's subject line states, and we quote, "Did you leave a handkerchief?" The email itself said, and we quote,
"Hi, John. The realtor found a handkerchief. I think it has a map that seems pizza related. Is it yours? They can send it if you want. I know you're busy, so feel free not to respond if it's not yours or you don't want it."
And just like the other emails, we have a screenshot of this one as well that we'll post up for everyone to take a look at. So, as people continued going through these emails, they began to notice that a few names and places continued popping up. One of these individuals was James Alefantis and his restaurant, Comet Ping Pong.
Now, who the hell is James Alefantis? Well, he's the owner of this pizza restaurant in Washington, D.C. But here's where things get interesting. Alefantis has been ranked as one of the 50 most powerful people in Washington, D.C., and yet he's just a pizza shop owner. That's some good fucking pizza.
Yeah. Also, James is involved in a romantic relationship with an individual named David Brock. Now, David Brock isn't just anyone. He's not just a regular dude. He's the chief of Media Matters, which is a major media organization that is closely tied to the Democratic Party. David is also the founder of Correct the Record, a super PAC created to support the Clinton campaign in 2016.
So, I mean, at first glance, all of this might just seem normal enough. But not so fast. When people began looking into James Alefantis' Instagram account under the profile name Jimmy Comet, they found that he used it to promote both Comet Ping Pong and his personal life.
Which that's pretty normal for a business owner to promote not only their personal life, but also their business under the same Instagram. So we do have some screenshots of some of his posts on Instagram. And the first screenshot that we're going to show is an LED sign of Comet Ping Pong, which he posted on Instagram, which is pretty normal. There you go.
Comet. The next screenshot is another Instagram post from James Alefantis' Instagram account. In this post, it shows Barack Obama playing ping pong with a child. Also, James posted the hashtags ping pong and White House Christmas party.
Dude, take a look at that right there. Barack Obama playing ping pong. So needless to say, James Alefantis and his Comet Ping Pong Pizza restaurant is very well connected with high-up political individuals. Of course, people continued to look through his Instagram, and that is when they began to stumble upon some very odd posts of children in weird positions.
For example, what Aaron was just saying, here is an Instagram post that he made that shows a photo of an underage girl, probably 5 years old, with her hands taped to the table of his restaurant.
Which we have that photograph right here of his Instagram post. And weird is all I have to say.
Yeah.
Now, after finding this post, a lot of individuals started digging even deeper. And that is when someone noticed something unusual about his Instagram profile picture. James Alefantis' profile picture wasn't a photograph of himself or his restaurant, Comet Ping Pong, or even just pizza. The profile picture was a statue of Antinous.
Antinous lived during the Roman Empire and is historically notorious for being, and I quote, a little boy lover. And he is considered the symbol of pederasty, a term describing a sexual relationship between an adult man and an underage boy.
And we do have another photograph of his Instagram account showing his profile picture up close. Also, we'll post up alongside that a photograph of the statue of Antinous so that you can see that they are the same. And here you go. Jimmy Comet, James Alefantis' Instagram with Antinous as the profile picture and the statue of Antinous. Same exact one. Weird. Why would you have that as your profile picture? Now, could this statue simply be an artistic choice? Maybe. Could it be just a coincidence? Possibly. But when you connect this image to James, the owner of Comet Ping Pong, in the context of everything else, many people thought it was more than just a coincidence. And as it turned out, the coincidences didn't stop there. And this is where things get really weird.
All right, so let's circle back to John Podesta and his emails for a moment. Now, Tony Podesta, John's brother, older brother, we said her?
His older brother, yep, who's the powerful lobbyist.
Yep. He received an email on June 28th, 2015, from a woman named Marina Abramovich. This email was later forwarded to John Podesta, and here is what it said.
Dear Tony, I am so looking forward to the spirit cooking dinner at my place. Do you think you will be able to let me know if your brother is joining? All my love, Marina.
Tony then forwarded this email to John with a short message saying, and we quote, "Are you in NYC Thursday, July 9th? Marina wants you to come to dinner." End quote.
Now, at first glance, this email might seem completely normal and pretty much unremarkable. But when you dig into what spirit cooking actually is, things start to feel very different.
So, what is spirit cooking? Well, it's an occult ritual in which pig's blood and possibly human blood, along with fresh breast milk and fresh sperm, are used as mediums to connect spirits with the material world.
Yeah.
So, needless to say, that is some pretty weird and nasty shit.
Yep. And let's circle back real quick and talk about the woman who invited John and Tony to do this spirit cooking, Marina Abramovich. Now, she's a Siberian performance artist, a philanthropist, and an art filmmaker.
She is also famous for pushing boundaries in often shocking and gory ways. Her work frequently involves the themes of pain and ritual. For example, her first performance involves repeatedly stabbing herself in the hands.
Yeah.
Was she actually stabbing herself?
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy. In another performance, she created a 5-point star, also known as a pentagram, and she created that on the floor and caught this pentagram on fire and then took trimmings of her fingernails, toenails, and hair and threw them into the burning pentagram that was on the floor. And then she jumped into this pentagram, lost consciousness, and fell into the fire on the ground. However, she did survive that. She didn't like get super burned up either, somehow. Maybe because she's a witch, but
You know, her being a witch, that makes sense. The only way I know this information, not her being a witch, but after watching Sopranos,
mhm.
I remember that one scene with Tony where he goes and meets that one lady by the pool, and she is having her fingernails and toenails clipped, but she's keeping every single one of them and putting them in like a little jar. And I think he mentioned, like, he asked, like, "Why are you doing that?" And she said that, I guess it's an Italian thing, that people can use your fingernails and toenails to cast curses on you if they get a hold of it.
What the fuck? That's crazy.
I'm pretty sure that was in Sopranos.
Damn.
I want to say that I remember seeing Tony standing there and she's doing this.
I seen somebody sell their fingernail and toenail clippings, like an entire fucking jar filled of their toenails and fingernail clippings on eBay one time.
Was the username not Danielson?
No. All right. So those are a couple examples of her performances, and it just gets worse.
One of her most infamous performances took place in 1974. She placed 72 objects on a table, which included a rose, a feather, honey, a whip, olive oil, scissors, a scalpel, a gun, and a single bullet.
Now, next to this table, she placed a sign that told the audience that they could use any of the items on the table against her however they wished. For 6 hours straight, she stood there at the mercy of the crowd. She was stripped naked, cut, and at one point, someone even took the gun and held it to her head.
I don't know. Okay.
These performance artists are weird. Okay, I've seen some really weird performance art people, okay, and some weird things that they've done.
It just makes me think, like, what if she did get shot? Does that person get charged with murder?
I don't know.
Or is that consensual? Is that art?
Consensual murder? I don't think that's a thing.
I don't know. That's what it's starting to sound like.
Well, if you remember, we talked about that one murder of that guy who had a fetish of wanting to be cannibalized. And that actually happened, and the other guy got charged for it.
Okay, so the person would get charged. So
absolutely.
Guessing no one actually shot her.
Not yet.
So yeah, those are just few of the performances that she has done over the years. Crazy shit. But now let's circle back to spirit cooking.
So like we mentioned earlier, a lot of people read the email that Marina sent to Tony and John Podesta asking them to come over for some spirit cooking. Individuals then found a video online of Marina actually performing this spirit cooking ritual. And in this video, she spreads blood across the walls and writes,
"With a sharp knife, cut deeply into the middle finger of your left hand. Eat the pain."
Now, we do have a link to this video, but for obvious reasons, we cannot show it on YouTube. However, if you go to our website, theoriesofthethirdkind.com, and click on today's episode, we will have a link to that video so you can go watch it yourself. I think it's right at 10 minutes long, and it's very odd.
Also, we do have a screenshot from that video, though, that shows the message written on the wall in blood.
And here it is for everyone to take a look at it.
"With a sharp knife, cut deeply into the middle finger of your left hand.
Ugh.
Eat the pain."
That's weird. All right. So Marina ended up sending that email inviting Tony and his brother John Podesta to do that spirit cooking dinner. And a lot of people thought that it was nothing and that, hey, they ended up not going. However, on September 25th, 2015, John Podesta posted a photo on social media. And in this photo, he was showing his support of an organization, which the organization itself doesn't matter. It's what's in the photograph that does.
So in this photo, John is holding his hands up. In his right hand is the number 14, written in black ink, and in his left hand is a fish drawn on his hand in black ink, which we do have that photo, and we will post it up for everyone to see.
Now, what does this photo of John Podesta the one that he posted on social media, have to do with spirit cooking? Well, if you remember, on the wall written in blood is, with a sharp knife, cut deeply into the middle finger of your left hand and eat the pain. Well, in the photograph that John posted, there is a giant band-aid over his middle finger on his left hand, which a lot of individuals point to that and say he did do the spirit cooking with her and he's involved with that weird shit. Also, his other hand has a lot of scars on it.
Yeah, and looks like he has some arthritis in his pinkies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to add to all of this, James Alefantis, the Comet Ping Pong Pizza restaurant owner that we mentioned earlier, he made a post on his Instagram of a photograph of Marina Abramovich.
And here's that Instagram post for everyone to take a look at. So it just kind of ties everything together, and it's going to continue coming together. And at the end of this, you're going to be like, wow, there are a lot of weird people in the politics that are high up.
And there is a slur in this screenshot.
Yeah.
But I learned this one in ninth grade, because my earth science teacher said, if you ever call me this, why are you calling me a bundle of wood?
Oh, I thought it meant a cigarette.
That's in,
Can I have one of those?
That's like over in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
But it also means like a bundle of wood.
Oh, and that's why she's holding that wood.
Yes. But it is a slur, and sorry.
Now, I know with us going over all this, you still might be skeptical. And I wouldn't blame you if you thought this was all just a coincidence. However, I'm going to ask again, please stick with us, because the connections become even more odd when we shift our focus back to John's brother, Tony, the one who was invited to that spirit cooking dinner with Marina and who is the high up political lobbyist in Washington, D.C. Tony Podesta is involved in some very odd things.
Yep. And as individuals began digging into Tony, they learned that someone close to him had previously spoken to the media about how shocked they were by the artwork he owned. The Washington Post ended up taking these claims, investigating them, and publishing an article titled Married with Artwork.
In this article, it explored the claims by the individual and gave the readers a glimpse into the strange and unsettling art inside of Tony Podesta's home. Now, for the longest time, images of these paintings and art pieces that he owned were nearly impossible to find. They were pretty much scrubbed from the internet. However, they began resurfacing. Many of the art pieces depicted naked young children. So needless to say, we cannot show that.
And just a little knowledge nugget here, it wasn't just Tony who had strange art, but his brother John did as well. For example, during his time working on Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign, John kept a disturbing image in his office, which was an image depicting cannibalism. The painting shows two men feasting on another person. And almost every time someone would see this painting, they would react in shock. And at this point, John would just say, and we quote, "It's better to be the guy with the fork than the guy on the table."
Okay.
I mean,
I can see how that's a piece of art.
I can see that's a piece of art, and I guess I can understand it. Like, you don't want to be the guy getting devoured. You want to be the other guy.
Yeah, but I don't understand art pieces of naked young children or other art pieces that Tony, John Podesta's brother, owned. So some of these art collections depicted women without heads, a nude woman drenched in blood, a nude portrait of Jesus Christ, a young boy rendered in a style that looks almost as if he was stitched together by a sewing machine.
Perhaps the most disturbing art piece that Tony owns is a statue modeled after one of Jeffrey Dahmer's tortured victims. This statue is suspended from the ceiling of his home, which we could show an image of that for all you sickos that like seeing that.
Yep. So here's an image of that sculpture with Tony Podesta standing on his stairs and kind of just smiling. That's just really weird. And to add to all of this, here's a photograph of Tony Podesta visiting James Alefantis at his Comet Ping Pong restaurant. So it all connects again.
Yeah, and you might think that Tony just stopped by that one day and someone snapped a photo of him and James, but that's not the case. Here's a screenshot of an Instagram post from James that shows him at a gathering standing next to Tony Podesta, who has a mic in his hand.
Yep, here's a photograph of that. So, yeah, Tony, John, Marina, James Alefantis, all these high up people are all connected to all this weird shit. So, like we previously mentioned, individuals throughout the world were looking into these emails of John Podesta, and they were finding very odd connections to high up politicians, bribery, satanic occult rituals, cryptic references to a child sex trafficking ring, and much more.
Now, what made this even more shocking is that days after WikiLeaks released the emails of Podesta, the FBI did something strange. Completely out of the blue, the FBI released a document about pedophiles and the symbols that they use to communicate their preferences in children.
Which these symbols were, it was like a triangle, like, those like hypnotic circles?
Mm,
Imagine that, but in a triangle and then blue. That's what and we go over that in Strange Facts and Findings.
okay.
Yeah. So, of course, with the FBI releasing this document about the symbols of pedophiles and their preferences just days after the WikiLeaks released the emails of Podesta, this, of course, sparked a huge conversation. And it brought this story of the weird emails and its cryptic messages to the mainstream. However, just like every case involving high up politicians, the media called this Pizzagate and labeled it as a conspiracy theory that has no basis and it was all made up.
And just like that, the story was discredited, barely talked about, and pretty much forgotten. And that is what Pizzagate was. However, just like every week, our episode does not stop there because now we're going to get into the strange facts and findings that we have uncovered while researching this topic.
Now, I do want to say, before we go into strange facts, there's a lot more other strange things involving Pizzagate, and we're going to cover some of that stuff during this strange facts and findings. So if you're kind of like screaming at us through your radio or through your computer screen or phone, just wait. We will get to it. All right. So our first strange fact and finding is called Besta Pizza. So there's a pizza place just like Comet Ping Pong, and it's called Besta Pizza, and it's actually 2 blocks down from Comet Ping Pong.
Now, as individuals were investigating this Pizzagate stuff, they noticed that Besta Pizza's logo matched the pedophile logos that the FBI had released. Not long after that, Besta Pizza ended up changing their logo, which we do have an image of their logo before and after they changed it.
All right, so here's the image of the Besta Pizza logo before and after. And as you can see, it does have the hypnotic symbol, triangle symbol. And then the logo afterwards, he just kind of took that out and it's just a flying pizza.
It doesn't even look like a flying pizza anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't even look like a flying pizza.
Now, some individuals thought that maybe this was just another coincidence. However, others became suspicious and began digging into Besta Pizza and trying to find out who owned it.
Individuals ended up going online and visiting the DC Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs and did a search for Besta Pizza's business license verification. The corporate name of Besta Pizza came up as Uptown Pizza Incorporated. The registered agent for Uptown Pizza Incorporated is Andrew Klein.
So, who is Andrew Klein? Well, get this. Andrew Klein is the DOJ, which is the Department of Justice. He is their prosecution attorney, and he works in the Human Trafficking Prosecution Unit. Andrew also provides United States attorneys nationwide with training on prosecuting child trafficking cases.
So you're telling me that this Andrew Klein, the attorney for the Department of Justice, Human Trafficking Prosecution Unit, the owner of Besta Pizza, he didn't know that his Besta Pizza logo was a child pedo logo at all. He didn't.
Apparently not.
Right.
Yeah, weird.
Right.
Also, we have some additional information. We do have an image that shows the location of Comet Ping Pong Pizza Restaurant. And nearby it is the Bucks Fishing and Camping Store, which is also owned by James Alefantis. And next to that is Besta Pizza.
Also, across the street is a building that Beyond Borders uses as its headquarters. And Beyond Borders is a charity that is focused on Haiti and funded by the Clinton Foundation. And I want you to keep that in mind as we talk about our next strange fact and finding. But we do have a picture of like the map showing the restaurants and
Their locations and all that.
and some of their logos.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into our next strange fact and finding, which is about an individual named Laura Silsby and New Life Children's Refuge. and this is incredibly odd, this story. So back on January 12th, 2010, there was a super bad earthquake in Haiti that measured 7.0 on the Richter scale. This earthquake was the deadliest natural disaster of the 21st century for a single country. And it didn't just stop with just that one earthquake.
By January 24th, at least 52 aftershocks measuring 4.5 or greater had been recorded. So Haiti was just getting pounded with earthquakes. The damage was devastating, and an estimated 3 million people were affected by the quakes. The death toll was estimated to range around from 100,000 to about 160,000. However, the Haitian government stated that the death toll was higher, likely between 220,000 and 316,000 people, which that's a big difference.
That is a big difference. Now, I know you're probably wondering, what does this strange fact have to do with our topic today? Well, a group of 10 American Baptist missionaries from Idaho, who were a part of the group called New Life Children's Refuge, they had heard about this earthquake in Haiti and decided to go help.
I mean, that seems pretty normal, though.
Yeah,
A missionary group from another country going to help families and children who just suffered from a major disaster.
yeah, seems pretty normal.
But that would all change.
On January 29th, 2010, the group of 10 missionaries from New Life Children's Refuge, they attempted to cross into the Dominican Republic with 33 Haitian children, most of whom were not orphans and had families. Now, before they could cross the border, the group was stopped by the Haitian police and accused of kidnapping these children. And the children weren't with their parents. It was just 33 children by themselves with these 10 missionaries.
And the missionaries denied any wrongdoing and claimed that they were rescuing orphans and leading them to a Dominican hotel which was being transformed into an orphanage. However, all of them were arrested and charged with trafficking children.
Now, when this hit the news, former United States President Bill Clinton intervened and he made some phone calls. Shortly after his phone call, 9 of the 10 missionaries were released. However, the New Life Children Refuge founder, Laura Silsby, she remained incarcerated in Haiti.
And on May 13th, she went to trial and her charges were reduced to arranging irregular travel.
So it went from trafficking children and kidnapping children to arranging irregular travel.
So she was pretty much the fall guy,
Fall girl, yeah.
fall girl. Then on May 17th, she was found guilty and sentenced to only a few months in prison, which they granted her time served in jail prior to the trial, so she was released and went back to the United States.
So there's that story, which in itself is very odd and kind of disturbing that they would be pretty much trying to kidnap these 33 children. But to add even more strangeness to this, I'm going to tell you about AlertSense. Now, AlertSense provides technology for issuing Amber Alerts. You know, the alerts that are sent out whenever a child goes missing and your phone just starts uncontrollably making that weird sound. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, a child has been kidnapped. Look for a license plate of this and a vehicle that looks like that. So that is the pretty much Amber Alerts, and it's ran by AlertSense. And guess who the vice president of AlertSense is? Laura Silsby, the girl who was arrested trying to pretty much kidnap 33 children and traffic them across the Haitian border after an earthquake devastated their country. Very odd. Also, if you go online and you look up Haiti and Hillary Clinton,
Oh, yeah.
you will find that the Haitians there hate Hillary Clinton. They all claim that she steals their children. All of them. They claim that she comes over there. No, well, she did personally, but she also has a group that she funds that goes over there and allegedly, by the way, this is all allegedly, goes over there and kidnaps children or waits until like a big disaster hits and then kidnaps all of the children that are pretty much orphaned and then sells them to politicians.
Supposedly orphaned.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's go into our next strange fact and finding, which is over Andrew Breitbart. Now, Andrew was an American journalist and commentator who founded HuffPost and Breitbart.
HuffPost, formerly known as the Huffington Post, is an American news and opinion website and blog. And Breitbart is a conservative-leaning American news and opinion website.
All right, so Andrew founded those media companies, and in 2012, he passed away from a heart attack. Now, why do we mention him?
Well, a year before he passed away in 2011, 5 years before Pizzagate happened, Andrew made a post on Twitter. His post stated, and we quote,
How John Podesta isn't a household name as a world-class underage sex slave op cover-upper defending unspeakable dregs escapes me. End quote. He posted that 5 years before Pizzagate broke.
and a lot of people point to that and say that this tweet must have meant that a lot of high up individuals already knew about John Podesta and his weird involvement with odd things.
And one last thing I want to add to this strange fact and finding is that we stumbled upon a video clip of Andrew before he passed away. He was at a convention and a random individual approached him and tried to get an interview with him. And we do have that video clip and we're going to play it right now. And it's fairly short. However, if our entire episode gets copyrighted for just playing this 30-second clip, we are going to skip ahead and just move forward and take out the video clip. And you can go to our website, theoriesofthethirdkind.com, and the video link will be right there. You can click on it and watch the video there. But as of right now, we're going to leave this video clip in and play it. But if we skip ahead, it's because we were slapped with copyright. So we're going to watch that video right now.
This is a concerted effort. This is a concerted effort. Politics of personal destruction. Fuck you, John Podesta.
All right, well, you see where I'm coming from.
Okay. Yeah.
When I talk, that's because I'm interested in this ongoing, whatever the hell they're doing.
What's in your closet, John Podesta? Big Podesta? Big Soros? Do you want us to play these games? Because we're playing to win.
So that was the video. And it's very strange that Andrew Breitbart died of a heart attack not too long after that. And a lot of people point and say the CIA has that heart attack gun, and that's what they used against him.
I did find it very weird, though, that the guys he was talking to was writing on paper and he's leaning down to the paper to say the stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a recorder, but I mean, I guess it works. But he also called out Soros.
He did. Yep.
All right, so our next strange fact and finding is called murder. Now, as individuals began combing through John Podesta's emails, they not only found all the weird stuff that we previously talked about, but they also made a connection that possibly hinted at the murder of Supreme Court Justice Anthony Scalia.
So on February 9th, 2016, John Podesta sent an email to a lobbyist in D.C. named Steve Elmendorf. In this email, John said, and we quote,
Didn't think wet works meant pool parties at the vineyard.
Steve then replies to John's email and says,
I'm all in. Sounds like it would be a bad night. We all need to buckle up and double down.
4 days after the email took place, on February 13th, 2016, Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, Anthony Scalia, was found dead in his room at the Creek Ranch property that he was visiting.
Now, this might just seem like a coincidence. However, there are a lot of odd things. For example, where Scalia's body was found, the Creek Ranch property, there's a vineyard located on it. Also, wet works is a common term used to describe a murder or assassination. Take someone out.
Yep, a lot of people state that he was murdered. And another thing that was odd is that on the day of his death, emails were sent throughout the Clinton campaign discussing if they should address the issue of what was said in the emails about how they talked about, don't think wet works meant pool parties at the vineyard, They started discussing amongst themselves, hey, should we say something? Should we address it? But they decided not to say anything about it.
Also, one last thing. Former U.S. Senate staffer Brent Badowski emailed John Podesta on the 13th, the day Scalia's body was found. Brent suggested a replacement for the late judge.
So they had a motive.
They were wanted to replace him.
Mm-hmm. Very odd and strange. And it just keeps getting weirder.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's get into our next strange fact and finding, which is titled 2009 Dancing Boy Incident. Now, a lot of people will automatically brush off the claims of pretty much like high political people abusing or trafficking children as some conspiracy theory. However, throughout the years, there have been multiple instances where this corruption was true and it ended up coming to light. and it involved high-up politicians.
Now, we don't have time to go over all of them, so we have selected one incident that involves some of the individuals that we talked about today and a large company named DynCorp.
So first, let me tell you about this company named DynCorp. Now, DynCorp provides services in other countries for the United States military. And the services that they provide the U.S. military are flight operations support, training, intelligence training and support, security, operations, and maintenance of land vehicles, and a lot of other things.
Now, this company, DynCorp, makes a fuck ton of money. I mean, a lot of money from the U.S. federal government and its contracts. For example, its annual revenue of $3 billion, almost 96% of that came from the United States federal government.
So needless to say, this company does a lot of work for the U.S. government. Well, over the years, DynCorp has had some pretty nasty scandals emerge. One of the worst ones occurred in 2009.
Now, what we're going to go over next is the official story that the mainstream media stated what happened. And then we will get into the real story of what happened with proof to back it up. All right, so this is what the mainstream media reported.
In 2009, DynCorp contractors paid a 17-year-old Afghan Bakibazi performer to entertain them in Kunduz, a city in northern Afghanistan. Afterwards, several Afghans and DynCorp employees were investigated and arrested. However, it was reported that the boy who performed the quote-unquote tribal dance for the men was dressed in jeans and a t-shirt. The DynCorp employees were not prosecuted and were later released. End quote.
So that is the official story reported by the mainstream media. But according to some leaked emails from WikiLeaks, the official story is not true. So there was an email that was sent directly to Hillary Clinton from Cheryl Mills, who is one of her most prominent lawyers.
In this email, it appears that the Washington Post had emailed Cheryl Mills and Hillary Clinton, and they pretty much told them that, hey, we're about to post an article on the DynCorp Afghanistan scandal. Now, as this email chain continued and they emailed back and forth, it appeared that Hillary's lawyer, Cheryl, along with the rest of Hillary's team, they pretty much engaged in a sort of like damage control to try and hush up specific parts of that article that was about to be released.
So we have the email, and it says, and we quote, "According to my reporting, the week of April 13th, the DynCorp regional commander from Kunduz, Flint Chambers, he allowed his men to hire a 15-year-old boy dancer to do tribal dances at a DynCorp party on his training site. Around 15 DynCorp employees in attendance pulled out a single chair and had the boy do mock lap dances." Oh my God.
This was captured on video. The video shows DynCorp employees putting dollar bills in the boy's waistband, just as they would a stripper's garter. It lasted about 45 minutes. One of the main players in this was the Afghan Minister of Interior, Hanfi Atmar. He participated in this. End quote.
And that is the end of the email. Well, that Afghan Minister of Interior, he kept telling the State Department, which was basically Hillary Clinton at the time, to silence any news of this incident.
The Afghan Minister of Interior said in his emails that if this story went public, it would endanger lives. Also, he stated that he had done damage control himself. He had arrested 2 Afghan police officers and 9 Afghan men as part of an internal investigation into the individuals who facilitated this crime of, and we quote, purchasing a service from a child.
So he arrested people that bought services from a child, but he did it too, though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently his pleas were successful because some U.S. diplomats did in fact tell the Afghan minister not to worry and that the news story would be greatly watered down, calling the whole thing a tribal dance, rather than a party where young boys wear women's clothes and dance seductively before being auctioned off to the highest bidder for sexual activities.
Yep. And that's what really happened. DynCorp employees and a lot of Afghan individuals, including that interior dude, Minister of Interior, they had those underage Afghan boys wearing women's clothing, stripping for them, dancing seductively, and then they were auctioned off to the highest bidder for sexual activities. That's true. That's what really happened. And the news media just stated that, oh, it was a 17-year-old, it was one, and that it was a tribal dance, and he wore jeans and a t-shirt. It's so messed up. And that right there tells you that there is some type of child trafficking going on overseas and pretty much all around the world. And it is a great example of the politicians and pretty much higher up political people and military individuals silencing, covering up, or downplaying any news involving these types of scandals, which makes you wonder, is that what they did with Pizzagate? Is that why they completely downplayed it and called it a conspiracy? Because what's going on behind the scenes is really some type of weird child sex trafficking, occult ritual shit. And that takes us into our theory section of the episode today, where we discuss the possible theories as to what this Pizzagate thing is actually. So, Dan, do you want to tell us about this first theory?
Of course. So our first theory is called Real. This theory claims that Pizzagate was an actual child trafficking operation involving high-ranking political figures and elites using Comet Ping Pong and other locations as fronts. The supporting evidence to back this claim up. Podesta emails. Leaked emails from John Podesta via WikiLeaks contained alleged code words like pizza and hot dog, cheese, pasta. According to some interpretations of the FBI documents, can refer to child exploitation. Next evidence. Podesta's brothers' art collections. Both John and Tony Podesta own controversial artworks depicting naked children, cannibalism, and violence, which theorists claim suggest disturbing interests. Next evidence. Comet Ping Pong connections. The pizzeria and its owners, James Alefantes, were connected socially and politically to several highly powerful insiders. Next one. Symbolism. Some logos and symbols linked to Comet Ping Pong and related businesses resemble symbols the FBI has documented as used by pedophile networks. And the last one, historical parallels. Other cases of elites involved in abuse scandals, and in example, Epstein, have shown that high-level trafficking networks can exist.
And do exist.
And be covered up.
Yep. So that is our first theory. That is Pizzagate is or was real, and that it was an actual child trafficking operation involving high-ranking political figures and elites using a pizza place and other locations as fronts. Like every episode, I'm going to wait to say my personal opinion till the end, but that's our first theory. All right, so our next theory is called fake. This theory claims that Pizzagate was a baseless internet conspiracy that grew out of misinterpreted emails, political bias, and viral misinformation. Now, the supporting evidence to back up this claim. Number one, there was no physical evidence. No credible evidence of trafficking or abuse was found linked to Comet Ping Pong or any individuals in those emails. Number two, emails misinterpreted. The code words identified by researchers were, in many cases, literally referencing to pizza and food orders and not, code words. Number three, art taken out of context. The Podesta's art collections, while controversial, consist of legally acquired pieces from recognized artists. And the last one, origin in misinformation. Pizzagate began circulating largely on fringe forums like 4chan and Reddit during the 2016 election cycle and were amplified by politically motivated accounts. And all that supporting evidence is pretty much to back up this theory that this Pizzagate was a baseless internet conspiracy that just grew from political bias, viral misinformation, and misinterpreted emails. Don't know about that one. But let's get into our next theory.
All right, so our next theory is called political smear campaign. This theory states that Pizzagate was deliberately fabricated and promoted to damage Democratic figures before the 2016 election. The supporting evidence to back this claim up. First one, timing. Story peaked in late 2016, just before the U.S. presidential election. Second one, amplification by bots. Analysis of social media traffic showed coordinated sharing of Pizzagate stories by automated bot networks and fake accounts. Third one, partisan media involvement. Certain websites and personalities known for partisan politics pushed the story of Pizzagate heavily. I mean, every presidential election, there's always a big smear campaign. Both sides do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All sides do it. 'Cause there's more than Democratic and conservative.
So that's that theory that the entire thing was a political smear campaign. But let's get on to our next theory, which is called kernel of truth. This theory states that while the accusations about Comet Ping Pong may be false, the story resonated because elite abuse networks like Jeffrey Epstein and the Franklin cover-up and who's that other guy with blonde hair, Jimmy Savile, those child elite abuse networks, they do exist. And the public is suspicious of elite secrecy. Now, the supporting evidence to back up this theory, number one, the Epstein case. I mean, you look at that and it shows that wealthy, politically connected individuals have been involved trafficking children. The second one, other documented cases. Scandals like Jimmy Savile in the UK demonstrates how predators can hide in plain sight for decades. If you don't know who Jimmy Savile is, he was extremely popular in the UK. He was like a figure, like a celebrity over there, and he was trusted around children all the time. Well, come to find out, after he died, he would go to hospitals and be left alone with children who were terminal or children who were disabled, or even in the area where the bodies of the children were left, and he would perform acts on them. That's all I'm going to say about that. You can look it up yourself and read about it. It's incredibly disturbing. And this was known for a while, and news agencies in the UK covered it up and didn't post about it until he passed away. I believe they were complicit in the abuse of those children, and they should be held liable. But
100%.
I'm not the Prime Minister of the UK or whatever the fuck they have over there.
Fucking choke you with some beans for breakfast.
Yeah. And the last supporting evidence of this kernel of truth theory is public distrust. The secrecy, wealth, and power of political elites fuel suspicion, even without solid evidence. So there's that theory.
All right, so our next theory is called moral panic. This theory states that Pizzagate scandal reflects a modern form of moral panic, similar to the 1980s satanic panic, in which society projects fears onto perceived enemies. The supporting evidence. First one, pattern of claims. Allegations of secret cults, child abuse, and hidden tunnels mirror previous unfounded panics. Number two, psychological appeal. Conspiracy theories often flourish in times of political tension and uncertainty. Number three, and the last one, lack of confirmed victims. No individuals have come forward or been identified as victims in connection to the allegations. I mean, a lot of people that do go through SA usually don't say anything because they're too frightened.
And they don't want to
traumatized.
relive it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into our next theory, which is called PSYOP test.
I think this one's one of your
This is my favorite.
that he found.
Yeah. So this theory states that Pizzagate could have been seeded or amplified by intelligence agencies or political actors in order to test how easily the internet could be used to spread and shape mass belief. Now, the supporting evidence to back this claim up is number one, bot and troll farm activity. Social media analysis found that foreign troll farms, particularly Russian-linked accounts, were pushing this Pizzagate story. Number two, test run for QAnon. Pizzagate shares stylistic and narrative elements with the later conspiracy that emerged, QAnon, suggesting that it may have been a precursor or a trial run for QAnon. And the last supporting evidence is rapid viral spread. The speed of its growth and persistence, despite debunking, quote unquote, debunking, suggests deliberate seeding. I can kind of see how it might have been a PSYOP test, maybe to control, but I'll hold my tongue until the end. We have one more theory.
All right, so our last theory is called misdirection. This theory states that Pizzagate may have been deliberately exaggerated or fabricated to discredit conspiracy research and distract the public from other, more provable elite crimes like Epstein's network. The supporting evidence? Number one, discredit by association. When Pizzagate was widely debunked, it made it easier for mainstream media to dismiss other trafficking claims. Number two, timing overlap. The story appeared just before several high-profile sex trafficking investigations, including arrests tied to Epstein associates. And the last one, information flooding. Releasing an unprovable, sensational claim can drown out investigations into more verifiable cases.
So that right there are the list of theories as to what this Pizzagate might have been. And now we're going to get into our own personal thoughts. And I'm going to ask you, Dan, out of all these theories, which one do you think is closest to the truth? And which one do you believe?
All right, before I go into my own theory, I do want to say there was the guy that did shoot up the Comet Ping Pong.
Yes.
He got arrested and all that. We know about him. They opened up the closet. There was nothing in the closet.
Yeah. So do you want to kind of like break it down? Or pretty much an individual found out that, hey, Comet Ping Pong might have like a cellar or like a storm thing underneath it that they kept the kids in. And this individual, I guess, went into Comet Ping Pong, shot the place up, didn't find it, was arrested. And then what happened after that?
Then for one of our strange news things, I covered the fact that when he got out, he ended up having an issue with the cops and pretty much shot and killed
By the cops.
by the cops.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to mention that we do know that, and I know we didn't mention it, but we did now.
Mm-hmm.
But for my own personal theory on this, I don't know if I would say that Comet Ping Pong was involved with the child trafficking, but I do note that there is child trafficking. It's everywhere. I mean, we see enough signs of it around here in Texas. When I first moved here, all the restroom stops and all that had posters and stuff posted up everywhere. But Pizzagate, I do think there's something fishy with it, especially with the Podesta emails, the FBI coming out with like the logos and then Besta Pizza changing it. And it's just in that general area where Comet Ping Pong Pizza was, Besta Pizza, there was very similar logos. It was like, if you saw the FBI document released, then you saw this area, it would be like, honestly, hate to say it, pedophile heaven with the symbols there. So I do believe that there was some type of shit going on. Honestly, I can't prove it 100%, but that's what I believe, is that there was something going on in that area, and it more than likely was covered up.
Absolutely. I believe the same thing. I believe a lot of these high political people are into some weird shit. And the proof is right there in the emails. You look at Marina Abramovich, and a lot of people say, oh, she's just a performance artist. That spirit cooking is weird. That is dipping your actually jumping into the occult. That is an occult ritual.
Mm-hmm.
And you have these other political individuals doing this, being involved in this and with these individuals and making these weird posts. It's very weird. And then you look back at the history of things. You look at the Franklin scandal, where a bank manager was flying children from an orphanage over to Washington, D.C., the White House, and checking them in at like 2 a.m. and saying, oh, they're just busboys. Like, what are they doing? What are underage kids, a big group of them, doing over there at 2 a.m. with a bunch of high-up political people?
Yeah.
Very odd. And then you had the Epstein stuff, where he brought a lot of politicians over to his island and then also flew over underage children that are in the flight logs. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on. I believe to an extent that this Pizzagate is real. And the media, just like the Dine Course shit, they just downplayed it and called it a conspiracy theory. But I do believe during this campaign, this presidential campaign in 2016, that this information was used as like a smear campaign. Because why not? It's ammo.
It's ammo.
Yeah. So, but I do believe that there is some truth behind it, and that's my own personal thoughts. But I would love to hear from all of you and what you think. Please comment down below and let us know if you have any more information regarding Pizzagate, and if you were involved in a child trafficking sex ring and would like to share your story. Never mind. Don't comment. We don't want to know. Keep that to yourself. Talk to your psychiatrist about it.
Yeah. Now, I did try to compare the photo of James Alefantis' profile picture, because his name on the thing was James Achilles Alefantis. So I'm like, okay, maybe the statue on his profile might have been Achilles.
Mm-hmm.
I searched. I found a couple that came close with like the curly hair and all that. but never the right one. And the picture you have on there is the correct one, that it is the elephant, or it is the Antinous one. And then I decided to check ChatGPT. I did a screenshot and uploaded it to it, and I was just like, can you help identify this Greek statue or whatever, or Roman statue, whatever it was. It's like, well, we can't really give you the exact one, but with the style of the curly hair and all that, it's similar in style to depictions of Antinous, Hermes, and Apollo. So pretty much no Achilles involved in that.
Yep.
So that kind of ruled that out for me.
Yep. It is weird that he would use a statue of a little boy lover as his profile picture.
Yeah.
But anyway, that right there is Pizzagate and what it is. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. And I know that there's a lot of other stuff involving Pizzagate that we didn't cover. We will eventually get into it in later episodes as its own, its own episode.
Or Pizzagate 2.0.
Yeah, we could do that later on. But let us know in the comments what you want and what you would like for us to cover. We've been getting tons of requests for a Pizzagate episode. So here it is. I hope you enjoyed it. 30 pages of research. Stayed up all night doing it.
I mean, it was definitely an interesting topic. Didn't really like it too much per se, but
makes me sick to think about this actually happening.
There's multiple times I wanted to just be like, y'all are some sick motherfuckers to do this stuff, but held my tongue.
Mm-hmm.
But now I just said it. So,
but with that being said, I want to thank you for joining us and thank you for your support and love. It means a lot to us. Also, one last thing I would like to announce before we roll this episode out. We will be doing voicemails again.
Yes.
So feel free to call our voicemail hotline, 707-390-0655, 707-390-0655. You can leave a voicemail and just tell us if you've been abducted, if you've seen a cryptid, if you've seen a ghost. Just tell us your weird and strange story. And
keep it around 3 minutes.
Yeah,
if possible.
Less than 3 minutes, please. And we will publish it on our next voicemail episode. But you can call that hotline at 707-390-0655.
Oh, 2 things with it. No eating while you're doing it.
Yeah, no eating while you're doing it or chewing gum.
No music in the background.
Or we won't be able to play it.
Yeah.
But yeah, leave your stories. We would love to hear from you, and you can be featured in that episode.
Hell yeah.
But with that being said, I want to thank you for joining us today. And again, thank you for all of your support and love. Without you, we could not do this.
That's right.
So Dan, would you like to roll us out?
Sure will. It's okay to be out of this world with your thoughts.
Because you are not alone.